Here in New Mexico, it's been cold and snowy. This morning it was 11 degrees, so it was a perfect day to stay inside and do some canning. This is a view from my front porch. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Hi friends, welcome to Southwest Homestead. Today I'm going to show you how to make cranberry sauce. Now, a lot of people only make cranberry sauce at the holidays. I've had this bag since before Christmas and I was going to make it and I never got around to it. I had a lot of canned cranberry sauce that I had made the year before, so we used that. But we like cranberry sauce year round. So I'm going to make cranberry sauce and I'm going to can it, water bath canning method. And this was a 5-pound bag of cranberries that I got from Azure Standard. If you've never heard of Azure Standard, it's a wonderful food co-op company out of Oregon. I urge you to look at their website. A co-op is where a group of people go in together and they have the food delivered to a local site. Everybody meets the truck and picks up their food at the same time. It saves on shipping. You don't pay for any shipping if you have it sent to a drop site. If you have a drop site in your area, you can go onto the Azure website and plug in your zip code and it will tell you if there's a drop site near you. I drive about an hour to my drop site, but it's well worth it. I buy in bulk. I buy a large amount of things from Azure. They have wonderful, organic, wholesome foods and just a wide variety of things that you maybe would never find at the grocery store. I buy my wheat berries there that I grind for flour. I buy all kinds of ancient grains from them. I buy all kinds of organic products. Just a lot of my baking needs, a lot of my dehydrated spices. I buy everything from Azure. So I'm not an affiliate of them. I will put a link in the description so you can check them out if you've never seen them before. But it's really fun to be a part of the co-op and you meet other like-minded people and you learn about things that they're using that they like. And if you want to learn more about Azure, there's a bunch of YouTube videos where people show their Azure Standard hauls. So type in the word Azure Standard, A-Z-U-R-E, and you can learn all about this company, but I can't recommend them more. They're just wonderful. So from this bag, I have measured out 8 cups of the cranberries. And then also top that off with 2 cups of water. Now I'm going to bring this 8 cups of cranberries with the water to a simmer until I start to hear the cranberries popping open, and that's when you know they're hot enough. So we're going to bring you back when those are coming to a full simmer. I want to say that I got this recipe from the National Center for Home Food Preservation. They're a wonderful website. They have information about safe canning practices, safe food preservation practices. They teach about water bath canning, pressure canning, fermenting, pickling, dehydrating, how to store food, how to make jams and jellies. They're a wonderful resource and it's free on the internet. I will put a link to that website in the description of this video so you can check them out. There's no reason to spend a bunch of money on recipe books unless it's just something you really want to have for your own home reference. But there are so many recipes nowadays on Pinterest and on different websites that, you know, there's no reason to spend money on cookbooks unless it's something you really want to invest in. So I'll bring you back later and show you when it's come to a simmering point where we're going to add our lemon juice and sugar. I'm going to stop you here and we'll come back. I lost my mic, so I'm going to have to do the rest of this in voiceover. Now you can see that this is the cranberries that have been simmered. They simmered until they just popped open to release the wonderful juices and flavoring. Now it's time to add in the other ingredients. I'm going to measure out 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I usually add lemon juice to most of my water bath canned foods, jams, jellies, and things like cranberry sauce. If I really wanted to test my acidity, I could do it with a pH testing strip. I've done another video on this topic, and it's a surefire way to make sure that your canned foods are at a pH of 4.6 or less, which is what the safe pH level is for water bath canning. Now it's time to add the 4 cups of sugar. I'm using organic cane sugar. That's why it has a brownish color. I get it from Azure Standard. It's another one of those organic things that I buy in bulk. Now the whole pot goes back on the stove and is brought to a full rolling boil. You keep it boiling for 3 minutes. That allows the sugar to caramelize and thicken the cranberry sauce. Now my cranberry sauce has boiled for 3 minutes. It's time to go ahead and put it in my canning jars. I have clean, sterile pint jars that I washed with hot soap and water. And I'm going to ladle the cranberry sauce into the jars up to 1 inch of head space. I wish that my mic had recorded during this session. I was talking about the things that I was doing and, just explaining some of the process. But I just continue ladling into my jars. My jars are hot right out of the dishwasher, and you want to ladle hot liquid into hot jars. You never want to ladle hot liquid into cold jars or you run the risk of one of your jars cracking. Now I just want to wipe down the rims of the jars with a cool, wet washcloth. The reason for doing this is to make sure that there's nothing between the seal lid on the jar and the top of the rim of the jar. If there was something that was really fatty, like canning meat, I would use a rag dipped in vinegar. Vinegar will cut through any grease that might be on the rim and make sure that it's nice and clean. I still do things the old-fashioned way. I simmer the lids of my jars in a pan on the stove top just to get them warm. I feel like this softens the rim, the rubber seal around the top of the lid, and makes it adhere to the top of the jar a little bit better before I screw on the lids. Now, they say that you don't have to do this anymore, but it's just a practice that I've developed over the years and I continue to do so. Now, once you have all of your lids on, you're ready to start putting your rings on. You want to put the rings on the top and only tighten them to finger tight. That means you can't screw them down really tight and you can't leave them on too loosely. If you leave them on too loosely, you'll have siphoning, which means the liquid will come over the top of the jar and siphon out and make a sticky mess. But if you put them on too tight, sometimes you can cause the seal to fail and it will buckle in. So you don't want to do that. You just want them as tight as you can screw them with just the pressure of your fingers. Now I think it looks like I'm screwing them down very tightly, but I'm not. They're just finger tight. You can use a debubbling tool to push the air bubbles out of the liquid before you put the lids on. Now, because this is such a thick gel liquid, I don't think that there's any air bubbles, so I didn't do that. Now I'm ready to start putting my jars into my old enamelware water bath canner. I've had this water bath canner for about 20 years. It's getting rusty in a few spots and it probably needs to be replaced, but it has been a great tool that I've used over and over again for many, many years. I think I bought it at Walmart. They're not too expensive and they're a good investment. I like to add a splash of vinegar to the pot because I have very hard water. Vinegar prevents that water scale from building up on the outside of the jars. Now you can just wash your jar with hot soap and water once it's cooled down, but I like to put the vinegar in because it keeps the glass nice and clear and clean looking. Now this is my water bath canner with 1 inch of water over the top of the jars. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to leave this open until it becomes a full boil and then I'll put the lid on. The pot will boil for 25 minutes from my altitude of 6,000 feet. I'm going to take them out of the water bath counter and place them on a towel on the counter. I won't put them directly on the counter because the countertop might be cold and I wouldn't want to risk shocking my jars and breaking them. I'll leave these jars to sit on the counter overnight to cool down. Once they've cooled down completely, I will remove the outer ring bands from the tops of the jars. The sealed lids will remain in place, and this way I'll know if I ever have a failed seal. Temperature changes can cause a lid to come loose and then reseal itself if it were very warm. If you remove the ring bands, you'll be able to tell that you have a failed seal and you'll never run the risk of making your family sick. Cranberry sauce is a very easy beginning canning recipe. I hope you enjoyed this visit to Southwest Homestead. Thank you for staying all the way to the end. I hope you come back soon.